She said that the hardest part of life is not the moment of loss, but the moments after, when the truth comes crashing down and all that remains is the broken pieces. Hannah had found her son, but the road to peace was not as simple as she had imagined. Not when the past was still alive, still chasing her. Not when Vivian was still lurking in the shadows, determined to hold on to what she thought was hers. Hannah stood at her stall in the market, the scent of her perfumes drifting in the air, but her mind was far away. Her heart, however, was full. Her son was with her now. They had spent the night together, long talks, quiet moments, and the joy of just being close again. But the next day brought new challenges. The boy, who had been uncertain at first, now wore a smile that seemed to grow with every passing hour. The girl, his twin, tugged at his sleeve, eager to show him the games she had played. They were children again, united by blood. But the quiet part of Hannah's soul, the part that had been waiting for so long, still wondered about Vivian. She couldn't ignore what had happened. Vivian had stolen her child. She had stolen his life for 6 years. The pain of those years was still raw, and though she was finally with her son again, Hannah didn't feel whole, not yet. Vivian had retreated to the edge of the village, far from the market, far from everyone she had lost, and she knew it. The lie she had built was finally exposed, and the pieces of her life were scattered around like a broken pottery. There was no getting them back. She had spent so many years convincing herself that what she did was justified. She told herself she was protecting him and that she was keeping him safe, that without her the boy would have been lost. But now, standing alone in the silence of her home, she saw the truth of what it was. She had been selfish. She had been wrong. Vivian had never loved him the way she had convinced herself. She hadn't been a mother. She had been a woman clinging to a dream, clinging to a man who never truly loved her. She sat in the dark, hands pressed to her face, the tears she refused to shed pouring out. She had nothing left, no one. Kelvin couldn't sleep. The weight of the past few days had crushed him. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, the sound of Hannah and her son in the next room filling his mind. He had never imagined his life would turn out this way. He had married Vivian, thinking that it was the right thing to do. He had believed her. He had believed the lie she had told him, that their son was gone. But now, standing in front of Hannah, he felt as if he had missed something so crucial for so long. He had been a fool. He had been a coward. He tried to convince himself that he hadn't known, but deep down he knew. He had always felt something was off. And now, standing at the crossroad of his past and his future, he knew that nothing would ever be the same again. It was time to face Vivian. Kelvin didn't want to. He didn't know how, but he had to. He walked slowly to the edge of the village, past the fields and into the small house where Vivian now stayed. It was dark inside, the windows shuttered, the air heavy with tension. Vivian was sitting at the table, her face pale and drawn. She didn't look up when he entered. "I've been thinking," Kelvin said, his voice barely a whisper. "I didn't understand it before, but now I can't keep pretending. I can't keep lying to myself." Vivian didn't speak. She didn't even move. "I loved you once, Vivian," Kelvin continued, "but I can't keep living in this lie. Not anymore. I can't forget what you did. You took my son from me. You took him from us." The words hit Vivian like stones, and she looked up at him, her eyes filled with the regret that had been building in her for so long. "I never meant for it to end this way," she whispered, voice breaking. "I thought I could make everything right, but I only made it worse." Kelvin's heart hardened, but there was a part of him that still hurt for her. She had been broken long before any of this happened. He could see it in her eyes. He could see the woman who had once loved him, and he could see the fear of being alone. "I can't fix this," Kelvin said. "I can't undo what you did, and I can't keep pretending that I don't feel the years that were stolen from me from him." Vivian's face crumbled. She stood up, trembling, her hands shaking. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't know how to let go. I didn't know what else to do." Kelvin watched her, his heart heavy with a strange mixture of anger and pity. He wanted to be angry, to yell at her for what she did. But the truth was, he didn't feel the rage he thought he would. Instead, there was just a quiet, lingering sadness, a sadness for all of them. Days passed, but everything had changed. Hannah and the boy had returned to the market, and the village had started to whisper. They would speak of what had happened. Some would gossip, some would judge, but Hannah didn't care anymore. She had her son, she had him back. The path forward wasn't easy. It would never be. But for the first time in years, Hannah felt peace. It wasn't a peace that came quickly. No, it was a quiet kind of peace. A peace earned through years of pain, through years of waiting. And Kelvin, he had a choice to make. Would he go back to Vivian, back to the life he had thought he wanted, or would he stand beside Hannah and her son and try to rebuild the family that had once been? The answer wasn't clear yet, but for now, the only thing that mattered was the truth. The truth had set them all free. If you enjoyed the story, like, tell me in the comment section what you learned. Follow, subscribe, and share. Watch out for part 5.